Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to episode 27 of the Prosperous Yogini podcast. And today I want to talk to you about your yoga business. Before I go any further, let's just pause and ponder on your reaction to that term, your yoga business. I know 100% if I went back 5, 6, 7 years ago and someone said to me, "So how's your yoga business going?" I would have looked to them and gone, "Oh, I haven't got a business. I'm a yoga teacher." And I definitely have come to a very, very different understanding of this. And the minute I arrived in this place, and it was before COVID, by the way, the minute I arrived in this place was the minute things really started happening for me, both as a yoga teacher and a business owner. So I would like you to think of yourself, and I don't care, to be honest, whether you are teaching one class a week, whether you are full-time yoga teacher, whether you are in the midst of your training, haven't started teaching yet, you've had a bit of a break considering teaching, you work one-to-one, you own a yoga studio, you teach online, all of it, you run retreats, all of it. I'm not really interested in what your offers are and how many hours you are currently investing your time in delivering the service of yoga. I want you to, right here, right now, as of today, adopt a mindset of, as a yoga teacher, you have two roles, you have two hats. One of them is the teacher, okay? The service provider. Yoga teachers are service providers. The service we provide is yoga. And obviously there's a whole multitude of ways that we can provide that service. But I know most of us go out, particularly at first, most of us go out in some way or another and deliver a weekly class, whether it be in person, online, to a group of people, or one-to-one. So the service is teaching yoga, however you deliver that service, okay? If you are in the service of teaching yoga, it is more than likely that you're a registered sole trader. Now, I'm a UK yoga teacher, and the advice I'm giving is around the UK. I know there's different regulations and laws in other countries, but actually it doesn't really matter where you're teaching in the world. If you're a yoga teacher, you are a yoga teacher. That's the service you provide. And you are also, in some capacity, on some level, running a business. Okay, this is what I want you all to get into your minds today, that as a yoga teacher, I'm also running a business. And I don't care if it's one class or if you haven't yet started yet, if you're in the pre-live stage, that you have an intention to be a yoga teacher, you therefore are in the process of setting up your yoga business. I wish so much somebody had said that to me when I was starting out as a yoga teacher. If they'd said to me, "Amy, okay, you want to be a yoga teacher, that means you are also going to be setting yourself up as a self-employed sole trader." So most yoga teachers are sole traders, registered. This is again UK. We have to, if we're going out and earning money from our service is teaching yoga, then we register with HMRC as a sole trader, someone who is going out by themselves and trading our services. Our services are yoga. Are you getting the message here? Now, there are some cases and some times where it's right in your business that a yoga teacher may register themselves as a limited company. Now, this is a conversation for another day, whether you should be a sole trader or a limited company. But if you are a limited company, generally speaking, you've probably already got your yoga boss hat on because you've registered yourself as a company and you're seeing your skill as a yoga teacher as a service that you provide. Now, generally speaking, when we first start out, there isn't a need for registering ourselves as limited company. It comes with a whole lot of hassle, being a limited company, more paperwork, and generally speaking, suits people at a certain income level. Now, I am no tax advisor, financial advisor, but if you are at all interested in any of this stuff, my main piece of advice is find yourself an accountant who can advise you when is the right point in your business to become a limited company, for example. or help you get set up as a sole trader. Because the minute you think, I'm a yoga teacher, this is the service I provide, and that means I am also a business owner, and all that feels a bit scary, doesn't it? No one trained me in my foundation yoga teacher training course. No one trained me to be a business owner. Then maybe it would be a good idea to get some support, some help, which is one of the, here I'm already modeling, giving you an example of when we step into that mindset, when we step into the role of yoga teacher, yoga boss, okay, the service I provide is teaching yoga. That means I am the CEO, the boss of my yoga business. We suddenly open ourselves to, oh, well, this sounds a bit serious, a business. There are certain things about running a business that I don't know about. Maybe I should get some help. Maybe I should get advice. And then all of a sudden you might bring in some support, some help into your business. And because you've chosen to take that action, things flow much more easily. Right. So what I really want to talk to you about today is when we step into that role of yoga teacher, yoga boss, there are 3 significant things that will happen in your yoga business that will benefit you, which is why I really hope after today's podcast, you're going to turn this off and go, yes, hi, whoever you are, I'll do. Hi, I'm Amy, yoga teacher, yoga boss, or as I like to say, CEO of Amy Yoga HQ, in brackets. Yes, it is largely me, and the dog Pancake, of course. So the first thing when we step into this idea that I am running a business, I am a yoga boss, the CEO, I'm a self-employed sole trader running a business, the service I provide is yoga. When I step into the role, the first thing that's going to help you is you get clearer, you have a better understanding of your energy and how you use it in your business. And what I mean by that is, let's take the energy of time. Okay, when you go out and teach, this is an energy, a vibrational energy exchange. You've got the time to get to wherever it is you're teaching, the energy of setting up, the energy of delivering that class, the energy of coming home, right? There is energy around that as well. The energy of purchasing equipment if you need it, carrying equipment, the energy of promoting, marketing, telling people about your course, the energy of advertising on a website or social media, if that's where you tell people about your services as a yoga teacher, the energy of collecting their money. So there's suddenly an awareness that in your business, in order, because you're probably just the only person providing the service and running this business, in order for this to happen, whether it's one class or you're full time, that there is an energy exchange, and you suddenly get a little bit smarter about your use of energy. Because if you use too much energy or you expend energy in an inefficient way, okay, this isn't going to benefit your business. When you start to think, this is a business, you start to make smart decisions about how you and where you direct your services as a yoga teacher. Now, if you're listening to this thinking, but Amy, this is all sounding a bit serious and a bit business-like, and I got into teaching yoga because I'm really passionate about the subject of yoga and I want to use yoga to help people. Look, me and you are in exactly the same place. I want nothing more than to share my passion, my knowledge of the subject of yoga, to help people to basically live in more balance, live with this human form, this human physical form, and our beautiful brains as effortlessly as possible. And yoga is one tool that us humans have created in order to help us live in as much balance as possible in this human form. So I'm totally with you. And there has been so many times where I have been sat doing something business related, feeling frustrated. And this is another point I'm going to make in a moment, feeling frustrated and like, all I want to do is go out and teach yoga. But people need to know about your business. People need to know about your services if you want to go out and teach yoga. And let's go back to the energy, if you are not being smart, if you are not making wise choices with how you deliver your services, and you are teaching here, there, and everywhere. I'll take you back to Victoria's podcast last week. Remember the story of Victoria when she first started teaching out? Everyone does this, by the way, but she was doing a 3-hour round trip to deliver 2 classes. That is not smart use of her energy. That was completely unsustainable. As a result, because her higher self, her inner being, whatever, just knew that she shouldn't be doing a 3-hour round trip for a 2-hour class, it didn't work. It wasn't a smart business decision. But when you start to think about, okay, I'm going to go and you're going to go and teach in person, keep it close to home, so I'm not spending hours driving somewhere. If you're increasing your teaching timetable, that you're not teaching like 1 class in the morning, 1 class in the evening, then another class the following evening, and the other class the next morning, and then 2 classes a weekend, and before you know it, you're doing one thing every day, and 1 class every day. You think, oh, it's not a lot, but you'll have one thing, one place to be every day. Well, you've not been smart with your time. You've not batched your time into times when you're teaching and times when you might be doing something else, something for yourself, something with your family, something working in your business. Okay, working on your business, rather than in it. So what often happens when we're thinking about our time is, when yoga teachers want to make changes, where they want to improve their website, start their website, create something new like an online course or a training program, or start a retreat, one of the biggest things that comes at me when I'm working with teachers that want to create something new to expand their offers, to expand their income potential in their business and help more people through the light that is yoga, they communicate a sense of just not having enough time because they're so busy energetically involved in the service of teaching in their business that they don't have the time to work on their business and grow it, because they haven't thought themselves as a yoga teacher and a yoga boss. They're just a yoga teacher who's going out saying yes to everything, serving. And then we see this as a common theme in the industry: yoga teachers heading towards burnout, which is not ever going to be a place that we want anyone to be in. And I know I say this a lot, but stress yoga teacher ain't a good look. So when we step into that role of yoga teacher, service I provide, yoga boss, I am the CEO, the boss of my business, I am making the decisions. I'm completely in control of what I say yes to, what I say no to, how I create my business, because I'm sole trader. Like, no one else is creating this. It is just completely on you, right? You start to get smart with your energy. You start to think about things that are good uses of your energy, how you can be smart with your time. And if I'm already out teaching 1 class, maybe I could teach another class. I'm actually going to turn that amazing offer down to teach in the studio because it's a 45-minute drive away, and that's going to be an hour and a half round trip for 1 class. Okay, do you see how we start to get smart in our decisions when we're starting to think about the energy output of our services in our business and the energy output in delivering those services in our business? You start thinking like a business owner rather than just a yoga teacher who's like, someone offers you a class, oh yeah, I'm a yoga teacher, I'll say yeah. So you get smart with your energy. That's the first thing that happens when you step into that role as the boss of your business. Part 2, the second thing that happens is, as long as we're getting smart with the energy of time, you also start to consider the energy of money. Now, if we head right back to episode 1 of the Prosperous Yogini podcast, I did a whole episode on how it is totally safe for you to make money as a yoga teacher. I really do hope you go back and listen to that episode frequently, because it is something that, you know, I have to continue to work on. I think we all continue to work on, because it is challenging. Because like you, I teach yoga because I care about people. I'm passionate about yoga. Yoga's had a massive transformational impact on my life. I know the transformation it can offer to other people. I care about people. I want to help people. And then the idea that I'm going to make money off this, sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, I like toddler yoga. Toddler yoga is so much fun. Like, I probably would happily do that for free. But that ain't a sensible business decision, is it? No business has any form of longevity if they're just doing everything for free. Okay. So we start to get, an awareness. We start to get intentional about the energy of money. And just to recap, episode 1, money, it really will help you this, guys, as well as thinking, yes, hi, I'm a yoga teacher and a yoga boss. Money is simply a vibrational energy exchange. You go out, deliver the service of yoga. In exchange, that's the energy you give out. In exchange, you get the vibration of money back. Because you're a yoga teacher, for anything to be long-term sustainable, it has to be in a vibrational balance. Okay. So if you're over giving and not receiving enough energy back, so you're not charging enough, you're over delivering, and you're not receiving the vibrational energy of money back in return, then it's not sustainable. Now, don't get me wrong, there are other vibrational positives that we get back from teaching yoga. The community we make, the connections we make with our students. I get a huge vibrational sense of satisfaction when I see those that I train out there teaching classes and smashing it. I get a massive vibrational sense of joy when I see those that I'm mentoring growing their businesses successfully. All of that, there's that as well. But there's also coming at me, for it all to be sustainable, a vibrational exchange of my services, teaching yoga, training yoga teachers, mentoring yoga teachers, in return to the exchange of money. And with your business head on, you then start to be able to be a bit more neutral about money, because I just know how hard it can be, because I have these conversations with people all the time. And personally myself, when I'm thinking about what I'm going to charge for a class, what I'm going to charge for a training program, what I'm going to charge for my mentoring program, I can send myself around in circles for days thinking about a price that feels energetically aligned. Like I feel like that's enough vibrational energy coming back to me and into my business. That's a sound business decision, but it's also a fair exchange in what I'm giving out. So I know it's very hard to price your classes and your other offers. And the mind can get really involved with this, like you're not worthy of that, or no one's going to pay that. That's too expensive. But if we've got our business head on, the first thing, our boss of our business, isn't interested in any of that, because it's the boss. And anybody who's the boss, a CEO of the business, for business to be long-term sustainable, it has to make money. There has to be cash flow. Like one of the biggest killers of, I'm not talking about your yoga business, just businesses full stop, it's a cash flow problem. And a business long-term needs to be profitable. Now, I'm not saying when you first start out that you'll necessarily make money from day one. Sometimes it takes things to grow and time for things to grow, but long-term longevity as a yoga teacher, whether you're teaching one class full-time in your business, honestly, it just doesn't matter. It's all just the same principle on a bigger scale. For it to have a sense of longevity, for it to be sustainable, and your students want it to be sustainable because they want to do yoga with you. So it's actually really important that you do create a sustainable model, that you get really clear on your costs, because very few people do this. When I'm like, how did you arrive at that price? I've been working with someone recently, helping them price up their retreat. They're going from a 1-day retreat to a longer 3-night, 4-day retreat experience. And we have gone round in circles coming up with a price. And every time I'm like, what are your exact costs? And then once we got clear on the exact costs of running the whole retreat, and she came to me with her first set of prices, I'm like, well, this is not going to make you, much profit. Think of all the effort that's going into leading this retreat, delivering this retreat, not just that, advertising and filling the retreat beforehand. Is the energy exchange worth it? And this is the boss mindset speaking here, because she felt that people wouldn't pay more. But I'm like, but you can't, unless you charge more, you can't run this retreat because it isn't a sound business decision. And this is where stepping into that boss mindset can really help us to go, okay, I don't know what to charge for this. So the first thing your yoga boss mind steps in and says, because your yoga teacher mind is like, oh, I just want to give my services and help people. Of course you do. But the yoga boss says, great, I hear you. I want you to do the same. But for you to do this long term, for you to actually, when it comes to delivering that retreat, do it and want to do it and do it with a sense of abundance and joy, because the energy exchange is in balance. If you want that experience to happen, it has to be energetically worth your while. It has to be a vibrational, even exchange in terms of your energy out and the vibration of money back in. And for that to happen, the first thing I want to know is your costs, because once you know your costs, you can then reverse engineer it, work it back from there. Okay, this is how much I need to charge per person in order for me to take enough profit from this offer. It doesn't have to be a retreat, from this offer, for this to make it a sound business decision. Of course, the service is the retreat, and within this, teaching the yoga. So you get your yoga boss mindset on, yoga teacher, yoga boss, and it helps you to be energetically make better energy decisions when it comes to your time and where you're directing your time to delivering your service. 2, it helps you make better energetic decisions when it comes to your prices, because you go, well, actually, before I come pluck a price up out of the air, let's get really clear on the energy it comes to delivering this. Now, for those of you that teach and operate in the online world, have online memberships or online courses, selecting your prices for your courses and memberships is trickier. I understand that, but that said, give yourself permission to earn money as a yoga teacher. What's a sound decision for you to be in the long game for building an online business? So slightly different when it comes to pricing online stuff. I think actually pricing online stuff is harder. I might actually do a whole podcast on pricing online stuff when I get better pricing online stuff myself. It's so hard. The reason why pricing online stuff can be trickier, you do have costs when it comes to online. Let's take a membership model. Let me take my Yin Club membership, for example. So that's £22 a month. And do you know what? I plucked 22 out the air. I don't know where. It's an angel number. So there you go. That's where it came from, probably. But it's £22 a month, and it's 4 live classes a week, 4 live classes a month. We've got a community space and a huge library of yin classes. Plus, they get to do the recordings of catch up. Now, I could have 10 people in this membership. I could have 100 people in this membership. The experience of those in the membership is going to be the same. So this, you can see now why it's tricky. And my costs haven't changed. So there are costs when you're running an online business. There are, fixed costs in terms of course platforms, technology, your time in organically, and maybe using Facebook ads to promote your business. But it gets some, because they're often on online, you've lifted the ceiling in terms of capping numbers, it becomes much more scalable. So then people get a bit like, whoa, should I be charging that much? You've just got to come to a price again, right? Just because it's online doesn't have to be cheap. And don't fall into, I know I've talked about this before, some people fall into that, I'm going to charge less because it's online, because people think it's not as good. Online is as good as in person. It's different. It's a neutral place. It's not in person versus online. They're both ways that your service, you see how the boss is stepping in now. They are both ways, okay, how you can deliver your service, right? But yeah, I do sympathize with any of you who find charging, knowing what to charge for online offers is slightly trickier than, like, the retreat. Let's go back to retreat model, very fixed cost. This is exactly what it's going to cost me to run this retreat. This is exactly how many people I can have on this retreat. So this is what I exactly need to charge in order for me to feel like the energetic exchange is in balance. Okay, and that's quite important, that latter point, because you might be like, right, I want you to come up with a definite price, and I will suggest price and price ranges to those that I work with, but I very rarely come up with a definite price, because the only person who knows what an aligned price is you. So Yoga Boss Head On makes us clear, much clearer, and much more intentional with our use of our time in delivering our services as our yoga teacher, and ensuring that we are pricing our services for profit, pricing them appropriately so we are in alignment with the energy exchange. And then lastly, and I've touched on this already, those moments where, I don't know, I'll use the tax return as an example, because I won't lie, sometimes, like, particularly before I discovered the wonderful app that was QuickBooks, may have been a little bit chaotic, a little bit messy sometimes when it comes to my bookkeeping, and then sit down and go through it all every year to fill out my tax return. And it was a long event, let's say. It took me a long time to really go through the mess of all these receipts and my accounts and like get it clear, right, and fill out this tax return. And there's been many a time when you've been sat down in this process going, why? I just want to teach yoga. Why do I have to do this? Or, sometimes you've got quite a few emails that you need to respond to, or maybe you're creating a website. Again, that's somebody I've been mentoring on the mentoring program, been building a website, and there's been so many times where I've been like, just keep going, like, you can do it, just do it, and then we'll press live. It can feel like a massive sort of like task you are sat down, right, at a computer doing. And the bottom line is, I know, right, because I'm the same, I'm a yoga teacher, right? We haven't got into teaching yoga to spend hours sat down at a computer. We haven't got into teaching yoga to spend hours sort of like hanging out on social media. I totally get it. But the minute I step into my yoga boss mindset, I step into this place of actually dharma, of duty. Okay. As someone who is self-employed, registered sole trader, I have a duty to complete my tax return every year. And I have a duty to pay tax and contribute to society. Okay. Whether I particularly agree with whoever's in power and how they're spending that money, I do completely acknowledge my duty as a sole trader to fill out a tax return and to pay tax on my profits in my business. When I'm in my yoga boss mindset, when I'm in my yoga teacher mindset, I'm like, but I just want to get my mat out, have a little play with a few little sequences, get some ideas. I'd love to go and do a training course, all of this stuff. But stepping into the role of the yoga boss helps me with this sense of, this is my dharma, this is my duty. I will give you other examples. You don't respond to your emails of people making inquiry about your class, your retreat, whatever. They're not going to come along. Okay. It's your duty, if someone reaches out to you to ask about your services, to respond to them. For people to know about your services as a yoga teacher, you have to somewhere, somehow be advertising them. You have to be visible. Now, there are, and I've done a podcast on marketing, a whole load of ways you could be visible. Social media is one of them. A website is one of them. A podcast is one of them. Writing a blog is one of them. Making a flyer, making a poster is one of them. Physically just chatting to people about what you do, because we get a bit like, I don't know, like scared of rejection. That's one of them. Embarrassed because it looks like we're selling. Well, listen, with your yoga boss mindset on, you're like, well, I have to sell. Selling is service. I want people to know about my wonderful classes. I want my classes to continue to be sustainable. I want my retreat to be full and sell out, so everyone gets a positive experience and the vibrational exchange of time versus money and energy is in balance. Then you're like, well, of course I have to tell people about what I do and invite them into my offers. I have a duty. It's my dharma as part of someone who is providing the service as a yoga teacher, and therefore is a yoga boss running a yoga business. The only time when none of this applies is when you are being employed by somebody else. If you're going to work in a leisure center, for example, or maybe a studio is employing you to run a class, and all you have to do is turn up, teach. That's all you have to do. Just like that, turn up, teach, and go home again. You are not responsible for the advertising, marketing of that class. You're not responsible for filling that class. You're not responsible for doing the booking. That is all taken over by someone else. You are just responsible in providing the service. And it is common, and I totally actually support it for those of you that go down that route. For those of you who are like, just find that whole business side of things too much, it's 100% isn't what you got into teaching yoga for, and you just really like just being able to turn up and teach, then that's fine. It is a hard way if you have ambitions to be a full-time yoga teacher. Generally speaking, you will hourly rate earn less because you're just involved in the service of teaching yoga. You're not involved in the action of running your business. So there's a ceiling on that income, but it is a great way often for those of you that are newly qualified, or maybe you've had a bit of a break coming back into teaching. It's a great way to get started. It's very low risk in the sense that you'll go out, you'll teach, you'll earn some money. Okay. What it is it puts a cap, a ceiling on how much you can earn because you've got an hourly rate, you're employed. But that is the only time, that's the only example where you're just the yoga teacher and you're not the yoga boss. So I hope that helps, my darlings. I'm quite excited, very excited about Christmas, of course, but I am excited about 2023. I've got some great new things, as well as some, all the regular stuff coming up, some great new things coming your way. And I will be kicking off mid-January with some free training to keep your eyes peeled with this, all around this concept of stepping into the role of the yoga boss, all around this concept of, as a yoga teacher, we are also running a business. And actually, I'll tell you now, if I can do it, you can too. It feels scary because it's the unknown. Okay, it feels scary because it's the unknown. And there's plenty of business gurus out there who like to have you believe it's hard. So you have to give them loads of money and they'll tell you how to do it. But totally, if I can do it, you can too. So I'm quite excited about that. So do keep listening to the podcast. Early January, there's some free training coming up mid-January that will really help you step into the role as a yoga boss. But for now, tune in to Prosperous Yogini podcast. Binge listen to all the episodes over Christmas. I keep meaning to say that. Binge listen to all the episodes over the Christmas break, Christmas period. Head over to amyyoga.com. You can see all the wonderful ways that you can work with me. You can put your name on the waiting list for my Prosperous Yogini mentorship program that is reopening end of January, early February for the next 6-month cohort, or you can join one of my shorter specialist or further training courses. Just binge listen to me for free. All right, my darlings, I'll see you all next week.